small or medium-sized business owner thinking about implementing AI and automation into your business, then you might want to watch this video. So basically, I'm a small business owner myself. Apart from what I'm doing here on YouTube and doing AI consulting, I also have a business in which I'm basically a surveyor, and it's just me and my virtual assistant, and now my AI agents, which is brilliant. But that's for a different episode, different video. Um, but essentially, my point is for this video is I think a lot of business owners, senior management leaders are jumping on the AI and automation bandwagon, which is fantastic. I think every business needs it to an extent. But I think a lot of businesses can end up spending more money than they need to by not having an understanding of the actual problems that they have. Now, the question is how do you identify those problems? Now, one of the easiest ways, and it's not the only way, but I think one of the easiest ways to identify problems is to have a look at your costs. And for me as a business owner, it's very easy because I do a lot of things. It's very easy to not pay attention to the cost. And I know it sounds crazy, but anyone who's been in my shoes will know. You're thinking about the marketing, you're thinking about the sales, the finance, the admin, uh, the accounts, or whatever. You're thinking about all these different things, and then on top of your other personal responsibilities and endeavors such as this that I'm doing, you're thinking about all these different things. So you get an invoice at the end of the day, you pay it, and you have a subscription or two or three or four, and they add up, and you don't even think about it. At least I do sometimes. But my point is that the cost can accumulate very quickly before you know it. Now, once you have an awareness of those costs, that's when you start to distill whether you actually need those things. So if you are having a hard time identifying whether AI and automation should be in your business and to what extent, the easiest way is to map out all of your costs. And I mean everything. I mean your ChatGPT subscription, your Claude subscription, your Loom subscription, what else, how much you spend on coffee, how much you pay your finance, marketing, any external consultants. That's the first step in identifying whether these solutions can even work. Identifying everywhere that you're spending money. And that's something which can take 10 minutes, it can take an hour, but that's really the first step that I would recommend for my clients is map out everything that costs money. And this should be easy if you're using, let's say, Xero or QuickBooks or something like that. It should be quite easy to map out all of your costs. And then once you map out your costs, that's when I think for a lot of people it sinks in that, damn, I didn't realize I was spending that much money in this area or that area. And then once you have that awareness, then it quite quickly leads to, do I need to spend this much money? Or is there another way? Can I perhaps get this automated? Or can I perhaps use my ChatGPT subscription to do this? But until you really do that sort of financial audit of your business, it's very difficult. There are other ways, but I think it's very difficult to identify those issues, but also to take them seriously. So that's one of the first things I would do. So if, for example, you're paying, let's say, an SEO consultant $1,000 a month, you might be getting good results from that SEO. Fair enough. Fair enough. You might be. But there's also the argument to say that you could probably automate a lot of that and get AI to do a lot of it because where we are now with AI and automation, it begs the question whether not whether you need an SEO consultant, it's whether you need them for all the things that they were doing 2 to 3 years ago. Because you'll find now that with some of the latest models, they're able to do quite a lot that they weren't able to do 2 or 3 years ago. And they're very effective at it. So the question isn't necessarily my Claude can do this or whatever, my ChatGPT can do this. It's more, do you need such an enlarged scope anymore for those? And can you perhaps reduce the scope? So maybe you get Claude to do a bit and it does it. You have someone managing it internally and the SEO consultant just checks it that everything is working okay. If so, that can be a big saving for a lot of businesses. Excuse me, losing my voice. But that gives you an idea of how you can then go from not knowing what to implement exactly to being able to implement something. So once you've made that decision, you can then begin to map out. So once you make that observation, you can then begin to map out, okay, fine. What does my consultant actually do? Okay, he does the Facebook ads, he does the X ads, he does the Instagram ads, whatever, does blogging, this, that, whatever. Which of these can be done um, pretty much at the bat of an eyelid? Okay, yeah, the AI agent can do this, or so and so can do that. And then you'll be able to see where savings can be made. And then you would come to someone like me, or maybe you do it. You basically build out an automation for that because a lot of these tasks are quite simple. It's, let's say, if we stick with SEO, it's doing a bit of research, which an AI agent could probably do. It can be writing the content of, let's say, a blog post, again, which an AI agent can do, and there's posting, which an AI agent can do. Of course, there'll be a human element to that, but your staff could probably do that, or as I said, the SEO consultant can check that. So that's really what I would say is the best way to identify whether your business actually needs AI and automation and how to quickly identify it. Now, there is another way of doing that, and that's mapping out all of your processes and all of your workflows. But I think if this is something that you want to do yourself, this is probably the quickest way because to map out processes and workflows, it takes a lot of time to do it properly. You can't just do it sitting down for an hour. You just can't. You need to either sit down with a team or sit down for some prolonged period of time to do that, or you could pay someone such as ourselves to map that out for you. But it takes time and it takes time to do it properly, and it takes time to actually build out processes, to map out the processes, and to see where they can be improved or where they can be ditched completely. So I hope that helps. And if you have any questions, then let me know. I've also put a sort of AI sort of scorecard in the description link so you can click that, run through it. And if you want to have a call with me about mapping out your processes and workflows, then there's a a cow link in there as well. So I hope that's been of some help. If you like this video, then please like, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you.